I live for the simple things, like how much this is gonna hurt.
I want one.
The Marvel Cinematic Universe is an entity that has brought us all sorts of joy to comic fans, as it has gone and brought forth all sorts of characters into the fold, and many of those characters have special items or weapons that make them so much more than you would expect. From magic hammers to fists blessed by dragons, and of course a certain gauntlet, there are a lot out there in the Marvel Cinematic Universe to be wary of. But what item among them is the best of the bunch? Which ones tower over the rest? Allow us to show you who has the most powerful weapon in the MCU. Be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Number 8, Captain America's Shield. Let's start off with something that we all know and recognize and appreciate, the shield of Captain America. In the MCU, it is a shield made out of vibranium, acquired by Howard Stark. In the comics, it also has adamantium, but obviously they can't mention that in the MCU just yet. The shield, not unlike vibranium itself, is able to absorb kinetic energy and make things like bullets or blasts not even make a dent in it. Furthermore, its springy nature allows Cap to throw it wherever he wants and ricochet off of things to get enemies in high places. And while it is a blunt object technically, the vibranium is so strong that it can tear up vehicles, Ultron bots, and so on. While Steve Rogers may not wield the shield anymore, it does have a new home with Sam Wilson, and that's something that many fans are eager to see more of in the upcoming Falcon and the Winter Soldier series on Disney+. Number 7, Staff of One. There are all sorts of magical artifacts in the realms of Marvel Comics, but the Staff of One is arguably the most powerful of them all. Why? Because when a user casts a spell, it can literally alter the fabric of reality in order to make the spell come to pass no matter what, which is obviously incredibly powerful and useful. It can also be pulled from the wielder's body at any time, so it's not something you have to worry about always having on hand. The reason that this artifact isn't higher on the list though is very simple. You see, the drawback of the Staff of One is limitations in terms of how many times you can cast a spell. Mainly, you can only cast it once. If you try it again, bad things happen. Now, there are workarounds, of course, including using different languages to cast spells and rewording things to try and get around the limitation, but that is a lot to think about before making a spell in the heat of battle. And in case you forgot, the staff is wielded by Nico Minoru the Runaways, who are technically a part of the MCU, so yeah. Number 6, Pym Particles. Now, it is true that Hank Pym wouldn't like his greatest creation defined as a weapon, but let's be honest here, it's a freaking weapon and we all know it. Pym Particles enable mass to be shunted or gained from an alternate dimension, thereby changing the size of himself or other beings or objects. So in the case of Ant-Man and the Wasp, they can use these particles to shrink or grow in size and thus become incredibly powerful on the battlefield in various ways. As Hank himself noted in the first Ant-Man movie when shrunk, you can punch with the size of a bullet. And as shown in the second movie as well as Avengers Endgame, they can become giants and push the boundaries of the particles in order to size up the competition. Of course, this doesn't even mention being used to transport oneself into another dimension via the microverse. We'll be getting a third Ant-Man movie, and so you know these particles will find even more ways to be useful. Number 5, Mjolnir. Easily one of the most famous weapons in all of comic book history, Mjolnir is the hammer that is usually wielded by the demigod Thor, though others have wielded it, to be clear, even in the MCU. This hammer was made inside of a dying star, and it contains a literal celestial storm. Plus, it is made of Uru, a nearly unbreakable material, proven by Hela to be just that, nearly unbreakable. When you put all of this together, you get a weapon that isn't just tough, it is near impossible to fight against. This thing can dent all but the hardest of substances like other Uru, vibranium, etc. And when swung, it doesn't just launch Thor at super fast light speeds. Its impact can break worlds, it can channel energy, disperse lightning, and so on and so forth. Now obviously the catch here is that you must be deemed worthy by the hammer itself in order to wield it, which Thor is most of the time. Now yes, Mjolnir was destroyed in Ragnarok, but that doesn't mean that it's technically gone forever, and as we'll show later, Thor got an upgrade. Number 4, the Black Panther Habit. First and foremost, rest in peace Chadwick Boseman. We're going to miss you now and forevermore, Wakanda forever. Now, getting back to the Black Panther character, his weapon is quite literally the vibranium suit that he wears. It's not just infinitely stylish and epic looking and intimidating, it is one of the toughest costumes you're ever going to see or encounter. Mainly because the vibranium not only protects him, it absorbs energy and T'Challa can unleash it on the foes to clear a path or just give him some breathing room. Plus, as a show in this movie, one of the only ways to harm the suit in a grand scale is very overloading the habit with a constant barrage of attacks. Not easy to do in a one-on-one scenario, or with intense sonic blasts, which again, not everyone has on hand. Not to mention, T'Challa's abilities via the Panther Herb are enhanced by the suit in certain ways, making whoever's wearing this habit one of the best and most durable fighters in the MCU, period. Number 3, Stormbreaker. See, I told you, Thor got an upgrade. Technically speaking, Thor never wielded Stormbreaker in the comics in a meaningful way. That was actually the name of the weapon given to Beta Ray Bill. Look him up, great character. However, in the MCU, with Thanos on the rampage and Mjolnir gone, Thor went to the land of the dwarves to forge another weapon, one fueled with the power of a star and somehow held together via Groot's roots. Yeah, I know, we don't really get it either. Regardless, the axe that was born was Stormbreaker, a weapon able to tear through the hordes of Thanos' army, pierce the Mad Titan himself, channel lightning like Mjolnir did, and more. Whether it's actually stronger than Mjolnir is debatable, because of the fact that Stormbreaker doesn't fly like the mighty hammer did, but Thor has to put it to good use, and we expect Stormbreaker to be even more epic in Thor Love and Thunder. Number 2, the Phoenix Force. Yes, again, we're cheating with this one, but you all know why we are. The Phoenix Force is an entity of fire and life, all in one cosmic frame. On its own, it can easily wipe out worlds, galaxies, and not even break a fiery sweat. But when housed in a host, yeah, it can do a lot more, and it is terrifying to behold. Whether it be Jean Grey or others, a person imbued with this living weapon is someone not to be trifled with. Whole species have been wiped out by the Phoenix's flames, and even the Avengers are wary whenever it comes to Earth, which is rather often. And of course, we know the X-Men are coming to the MCU soon, or they are here right now. And so if they are here, then the Phoenix Force is coming because someone has to get the Dark Phoenix storyline right. Eventually. Hopefully. Seriously though, can we please get a faithful adaptation? Number 1, the Infinity Gauntlet. The Infinity Gems, or stones depending on the continuity, are easily some of the most powerful things in the MCU or just Marvel Comics on their own. But when you combine them via the Infinity Gauntlet, you're pretty much God. Because the wielder of the gauntlet with the gems inside is able to make any thought, any wish, any construct, any desire come true with as little as a finger snap. Which we did see firsthand in Infinity War when Thanos wiped out half of the universe with said snap, and then Hulk used it to bring back the dead in Endgame. But that's not all it's done. It's reversed time so that the other Infinity Gauntlet decisions couldn't be done. It's wiped out enemies without much effort, and if one wanted, you could literally remake the universe in your image. It's for this reason that the Gauntlet is so feared, and was very much the cornerstone of the MCU for so long. It may be gone now, but rarely are such weapons truly ever finished. So what do you think? What do you think of this look at the various weapons of the MCU and what they're really like in terms of power, abilities, and so on? Which weapons do you personally think are the best of the bunch and the ones that can truly change the tide of battle? What weapons do you want to see more of in the MCU or see debut in the MCU eventually? Let us know in the comments below. Be sure to subscribe, and we will see you next time on the channel.